After an intense week for English football's top two, the pause button has been pressed on the quest for European glory as the Premier League title race returns to take centre stage once again this weekend. Manchester City, of course, they're away at Leeds later on today, so victory for Liverpool at a very sunny St James's Park this lunchtime would move them back to the top of the table for a few hours at least. It is a very tricky test, though, up here in the northeast at Newcastle. Eddie Howe's men have won all 6 of their last home matches here, and all the action gets underway at 12:30 today. Yeah, welcome along to our Matchday live preview presented to you today by Standard Chartered. The thoughts of Stephen Warnock are to come at a very sunny St James's Park here this lunchtime. First, though, to the big news that was announced on Thursday, Jurgen Klopp signing a 2-year extension to his contract. It's a match made in heaven, isn't it, really? And it now runs until 2026. Liverpool fans are so glad that he's a Red, and so is the man himself.
Well, Jurgen, a big day for you, a big day for Liverpool Football Club. How do you feel?
Great. Easy to say. It's, I couldn't have imagined that I will be that excited about something like that, but I am actually. Obviously, we had a big game last night. Difficult to go to bed after games like this. Woke up this morning 5:30 and was on fire, to be honest. So it's, yeah, I feel myself. It's I'm couldn't appreciate more what happened in the last nearly 7 years. Never thought I would find again a place where we feel that welcome and where I'm maybe useful as well, and these kind of things. So it's absolutely, it's great. It just was a very easy decision. Let me say, well, a few things had to be sorted, but not with the club actually. And no, it's great.
Just on that, what is it about this club you love? Because I think a lot of people thought you were going to leave here in 2024. So what? Those reasons you just spoke of?
But that had, of course, nothing to do with my love to the club. So when I said around the last contract extension that 2024, that's it then, that was actually a private agreement, and the most important contract in my life I signed is the one with Ulla. And that's where it started again, because she, actually that was, we sat in the kitchen, in the kitchen table, and Ulla said, I can't see us leaving in 2024. And I was, what? And now really, about the people, about, that's the first moment. And then, of course, it's about the club and all the people I don't know personally, but I know as well. And that's how it all started. And when that started, then I thought, let's have a think. And when I thought about it, then it was clear I need to have one more really important conversation. That's the one to Pep Lijnders, because he is probably the main reason for it, because he is a real energizer. You know him. This man is on fire, and our connection is beyond football things. And it's when he said, oh yes, I'm in. It was clear that we are open for any kind of talks, and that's why we sit here now.
The fans' sentiment is this is the time of our lives. So just finally, what would you say to supporters watching this interview?
Now, hopefully not. Maybe by the time of our lives comes, maybe it gets even better. But yes, it's a very good time. It's a very good time, and I said a couple of times, it's absolutely good to be a Red in the moment, and I think we all know that, we all appreciate it, and we all love it.
Yeah, it's a very warm welcome to a sunny St James's Park to Stephen Warnock. I'm so tempted to ask you to sing the Liverpool song, but you told me not to.
No, not a chance. Not a chance. I do sing it when I'm in the ground because I do like it. Yeah, no, not in the shower. In the ground.
But listen, what great news it is. It's the news everyone had hoped for so long, and now we've finally got it.
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit of speculation about Jurgen maybe calling time on his managerial career and a burnout and things like that. He's quashed all that, hasn't he, by obviously signing the contract. But what he said, I'm galvanised, I feel energised with obviously the staff that he's got in and around him, the job at hand at Liverpool, what they're creating here, creating a legacy, wants to leave as a legend. And I mean, you can look at what's happened already. He's obviously won the Premier League, the first Premier League title, winning the Champions League. But this is a squad, a team that's competing year upon year. You take away last year, that was as Jason likes to say so often, we don't count that season with COVID involved in it. But no, when you've got your best squad available, this is a team that competes. But it's not just about what he's created on the pitch. And I don't think it's just him. I don't think it's just his staff. I think you've got to give the ownership a lot of credit for what's gone on, bringing him in, but then having a foresight to do what they do and build on what Jurgen wants to happen at the club. And I think the club's made huge strides since he came into the club, and you've got to give credit to the owners for that.
Yeah, you mentioned the staff a few times there, and we'll talk about them in a moment because they are almost as critical as Jurgen himself, aren't they? But in terms of the fit, it is almost impossible to find a fit that seems to be so perfect, Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool.
Yeah, I think everyone always says, don't they? He gets the club, he understands the Scouse people, he understands the Liverpool fans. I think he's just embraced everything that's come into play at Liverpool, and they've embraced him. I think since we listened to him in his first ever press conference, everyone believed him. Everyone bought into what he was about. He embraces the city, goes out drinking, goes to events in and around the city, he understands it very well. And these are small things, but again, it comes back to it's not just him, it's the club as well. But he buys into what the club are trying to put forward as well. So it's a really good match.
And it's his staff too, as we say, especially the relationship with Pep Linders, which is critical. And as he says himself, it extends way beyond football.
Yeah, one of the big things about having a good staff is that when things aren't quite going well, or you're not in the team, or you're in and around things, what you have to have is you have to have a member of staff that keeps people happy, that is entertaining, or who gives you something to drive towards. It's the people who don't train, who don't play, who've got extra training sessions. What's the sessions being put on for them, making them feel involved, creating the right atmosphere. But you've got to bring something to the team as well, and you've got to bring something to the staff. I think Pep Linders is getting a lot of the credit for what he does, but there's so many more people behind the scenes who have also got to take credit as well. So you surround yourself with good people and you'll get the right results, and he's certainly done that.
And looking at the wider picture as well, it could be significant, that long-term stability with the manager for any contracts that might be in the offing, and also players maybe looking at joining Liverpool this summer as well, knowing they'll be under Jurgen Klopp for a long time. Yeah,
I think you only have to look at Manchester United's situation at the moment and how everything's up in the air and who's going to be staying, who's going to be going. And it was surprising for me that, Bruno Fernandes, when he signed his contract, he must have known who was coming in and whether he fitted into the plans. Now, you've got players out of contract in a couple of years or in a year's time, and they're all wondering, well, how long's Jurgen going to be staying? Now that makes things easier. I know who's going to be manager. This is going to be a successful team, because there won't be doubt if another manager came in, because it's such a big task to follow. But now people know what he's about. They'll be excited that he's staying at the club. Hopefully we'll soon see Mohamed Salah sign, because I think he will. I honestly think he'll sign that contract, because I can't think of many better places, and in fact I can't think of anywhere better to be, atmosphere-wise, training facilities, grounds, club, everything. The club's steeped in history. Why wouldn't you want more of that? Barcelona and Real Madrid. Okay, Real Madrid to a certain degree have turned the corner, but Barcelona is still in transition. So you look at those situations and you just think, with Jurgen signing that contract, it stabilises Liverpool for them 4 or 5 years.
Well, very quickly as well, touch on matters on the pitch, because that news about the contract came swiftly on the heels of the win over Villarreal, and it's quite bizarre to think you could be disappointed with taking a 2-0 lead away, but it could have been a lot more, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could have been, but listen, in a semi-final, you'll take a two-goal advantage. I've seen a few comments from Unai Emery this week saying they'll be coming under a lot more pressure when we play, or when Liverpool play away. I don't see it. I don't think they're a great team. I thought the performance was very professional. They knew that they didn't want to concede a goal, but they didn't really cause any threats. I thought outstanding on the night performance-wise. Got the job done exactly what they needed to, and they'll fancy themselves going out to Villarreal because they can counter-attack against them. But I still don't see them having much of the ball, so I think Liverpool will dominate that game as well.
OK, well, it's Newcastle first, of course, today, and a tricky test does await for the Reds here at St James's Park this lunchtime. Let's hear from both managers now, starting with the Liverpool boss. Here's Jurgen Klopp.
So they're obviously in a really good moment, and Eddie plays a massive part in it. They signed one of our analysts. That's for sure a big part as well. I have to say, Mark, if you see this, we'll play a completely different team. So, and no, they do really well, and they sign a few good players. But it's not like this. That will happen in the future, 100%. But the power Newcastle is now, and of course there will be a lot of change and all these kind of things. That's clear. But for this season, they brought in did smart moves, really brought good players in, and just had stability. The players who were there before were probably Newcastle fans thought, oh my God, when will he leave? They grow into a really confident figure as well, and it's really good to see what little changes can make, and it will be a difficult one for us. So it's similar to a few years ago when we played between the semi-final. We played at Newcastle when Divock Origi had our shoulder. It was a tough game. It was one of these games where I didn't understand what exactly is Newcastle's problem. Why do they not like us so much? The whole stadium was on fire, and we have to expect that as well on tomorrow. It will be tough, but we have to make sure that we are ready for that. We have our targets as well. We know we need results, and we try to perform as good as it's more likely than not to get one.
We know that nothing but our best tomorrow, and I'd probably say better than we've delivered so far will be good enough. I've watched Liverpool in depth for a long period of time, and they're an incredible team. They have a way of winning games even when they're not at their best, which is probably the hallmark of a great team. And when they're at their best, they're almost unstoppable. So we don't quite know what Liverpool will face, but we have to concentrate on us. And we have to be perfect defensively, and we have to give them a threat the other way. We have to give them things to think about from an attacking sense. I think we have the players to do that. It's just whether we can get our players at their very best levels.
Yeah, you have to give huge credit to Eddie Howe for this turnaround, don't you? From a team that looked like, I think it's fair to say, relegation fodder, the first few months of the season, to be where they are now. They're actually second since the turn of the calendar year, at least, in the Premier League form table. Liverpool at top, of course, but it's an incredible feat. It
is, and I was here the first day that the new ownership came in when they played here. And the feel-good factor was back at the club, and it felt great, but then the performance on the pitch wasn't great. They got beat on the day and really struggled. But what he's done, Eddie Howe, is he's stuck to his beliefs in how he wants this Newcastle team to play. He's improved players, which is a huge thing to do. Often people go, well, you need a complete clear-out. You don't often. If you get the right personality and right manager who believes in players, suddenly they do things that aren't natural to them, but then they suddenly become natural because he gives them that belief to do it. Joe Linton's the biggest proof in that case. He's got him firing on all cylinders, enjoying his football, looks confident, looks like a great midfielder at the moment. And then you look at the signings he made in the summer, in the January transfer window, had to get the right signings in. Didn't go for huge names, didn't go for a marquee signing. He went for people who he knew the Premier League, understood it. He went for one outsider, which was Bruno Guimaraes, which was the one player who he went big money on. But how often have we looked at Jurgen Klopp and said, he bedded Andrew Robertson in, he bedded Fabinho in. He's done exactly the same with him. Knew he'd take time to settle into the Premier League in the training, probably assessed him and said he needs a little bit more fitness, a little bit more sort of time to get up to speed with things. But he's done a great job, really impressed with him. But one thing he's done as well, we talked about Jurgen Klopp having the right staff around him. He's bought Jason Tyndall in, who he knows from his time at Bournemouth. Jason tried his hand at management for a bit, but they're a real good match together. They work extremely well, and you can tell from the atmosphere in the ground, this is a completely different place to come and play football now for the home team.
When you look at the side that Liverpool faced at Anfield back in December, that was kind of just before they started to turn the corner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Beaten 3-1 on the day, and they were well beaten, to be fair. And you kind of look at the players that Eddie Howe's managed to get a tune out of since then, and it is incredible the work that he's done with them.
It is, and it's getting to know the system as well, understanding how he wants them to play, the belief. Now, you can't turn it on and just say, right, you're a great player, now start to play well. That comes over a period of time. That can take weeks or months, and he's been patient with it. And there'll have been pressure from the Newcastle fans to get results as well. And also, was he the big name that people expected to come into the football club? I don't think he was, but now the Newcastle fans love him. They're enjoying the football that they're seeing. But he's got the players playing in a system that he believes was right for the players. And you can see now how much they've improved, how much better they're getting week upon week. The big thing for me that people are sort of getting a little bit carried away with, though, is this home form. Yes, they've won all the games at home. They haven't come up against anyone major at home yet. I think the biggest team was probably Leicester, who they beat in the last minute. But they went to Tottenham and they got thumped 5-1. They went to Everton and they got beat 1-0. There are deficiencies within this Newcastle team. A lot of people saying how tough this game's going to be today. It will be tough because of the atmosphere, but I still think we've got far too much for them.
You touched on Guimaraes there. I just want to talk about him because he was on the score sheet twice last weekend. Once, against Norwich.
Yeah.
I think Joe Linton got the other
got
two.
The two, yeah.
So it's kind of a player that Liverpool need to be very aware of. I think him especially today. Yeah,
he's a good player. He's got 4 goals since he joined the club. So and Eddie Howe's talked about how he bought him as a holding midfielder, but now he sees him as an 8, and he's someone who's a box-to-box midfielder. He's got great technical ability. He's very comfortable receiving the ball with players in and around him. He likes to protect the ball. Will take it under pressure at any point in the game. He's got a hell of an engine on him. He's up and down the pitch. Even the 90th minute goal, I think it was 92 minutes here at home against Leicester, where he scores the diving header. It shows his commitment. I think he's enjoying playing his football here. He is a very good player. However, you're coming up against Liverpool now, and you're coming up against Fabinho, Thiago probably, and another, whether it's Jordan Henderson, Naby Keita. These are different level players now. Can you prove it against those players? He is a Brazilian international, but this is the next step up.
Can they prove it then today? What's your prediction?
I think we'll win. I think it'll be probably 2-0. I think we'll have too much for them, and I just think we'll have too much quality.
Okay, we shall soon see indeed at a very sunny St James's Park. That is it from Stephen and myself for the moment. We are going to be back though with more from St James's throughout the course of the day on Matchday Live. Coverage begins on LFC TV and LFC TV Go as well, of course, from 11:30 this morning with all the build-up. Mark Benstead is joined in the studio by Gary Gillespie and Steve McMahon as well today. Live audio commentary of every kick is coming your way from 12:30. Then from 2:30, interviews, press conferences and analysis as well on the Matchday reaction. And we've also got you sorted for post-match coverage as well. We'll have free highlights from 5:15 p.m. this evening on LFC TV Go, and you can relive all 90 minutes in full, as well as a host of in-game features from midnight too. Then on Monday, get the best view of the action from St James's Park on YouTube at 5 o'clock. Do join us later if you can. Goodbye for now.
And that's Fraser. Thiago, who gave the ball away, then loses it to Shelvey, whose strike is into the back of the Liverpool net. Konate came flying in and left 2 Newcastle players down. The referee's going to have to stop the game here. There is a head injury, plays going on at the moment, and Jota's there! Wonderful save, but not at the second time, and Newcastle won't be happy here. Liverpool are celebrating an equaliser. And Sam Maximin looking to restore Newcastle's advantage. It's a really good stop. Wellington, Shelvey, and Sadio Mane goes in, and he's going to come to Salah! That's Alexander Arnold! Oh! It's a screamer! It's an absolute screamer! Simply unsavable!